If your organization would like to be placed on WKMG's open position notification list, please call 407-521-1200. WKMG is an equal opportunity employer. You don't stop when the sun goes down, and neither do we.
Breaking news tonight that will affect your morning.
We're up late every night because getting results for you tomorrow begins tonight. So before you go to bed, watch the team committed to ending your day by preparing you for tomorrow.
Big storms by morning.
News 6 at 11. Live with clickorlando.com, this is News 6 Mornings at 5. Getting results.
Breaking news, Ian is now a hurricane as it takes aim toward Florida. The new track just coming in.
We have declared a state of emergency for all 67 counties.
We have live team coverage pinpointing the storm's path and how local families are already preparing for potential impacts. Good morning on your Monday. It's 5 a.m. I'm Bridget Ellison.
And I'm Justin Mormouth. Crystal is off. Tripper Steve watching the roads for us. And of course, meteorologist Troy Bridges joins us now with the very latest data coming in on Ian.
It literally just came in. It is now a hurricane. We're talking about winds up to 75 miles per hour. Keep in mind, it takes 74-mile-per-hour winds to become a hurricane, so barely a hurricane. It will strengthen rapidly, though, as it's moving through some very warm ocean waters. Water temperatures in the upper 80s. Also not dealing with those upper-level winds that were helping to keep it weak earlier in the weekend. So it will strengthen fast just before moving to Cuba. It's not moving over much land. In fact, plenty of warm water to act as fuel. So it will become a major Category 3 hurricane possibly tomorrow, even late tonight as it moves closer to Cuba and then over that small area of land in far western Cuba and then strengthening to a Category 4 hurricane moving into the Gulf of Mexico. Here is a zoomed in view of the brand new track as of just now. The next advisory at 8 a.m. This track has not changed from what we saw last night. It still includes all of central Florida except far, far southern Brevard County, and it does keep it as a Category 3 very close to Tampa Bay and then moving up to areas like Cedar Key as a Category 1 hurricane. So the timeline would be Thursday into Friday, possibly early Friday morning, possibly a landfall, but all of central Florida in the cone. So we would see some impacts as early as Wednesday with tropical storm force winds, a good bit of heavy rain pushing in, and then more of it as this continues to move farther to the north. The question is, where in this cone would it actually go? Would it make a turn and move right into central Florida as a major hurricane, or would it move farther out to the west and show lower impacts on central Florida? Now, coming up, we will show you more of those impacts. I'll show you the models, and we'll get into it. But first, let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. Things when it comes to the roadways this morning looking pretty good. We're I-4 up to speed this morning, east and westbound right here at Kirkman. Some minor crashes that are out there still lingering this morning. This one, Orange Avenue on the south end at Weatherby. There is a crash here reported with injuries, so be careful through that area. And then OBT and Lancaster. You can see a little bit of delay northbound along Orange Blossom Trail. Again, just be careful as you're cruising through. I-4, though, looking good this morning. No issues out here east and westbound. All your lanes are open and no crashes to report when it comes to our major highways. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. As Troy just explained, whether we get a direct hit or not, Ian's impacts will be felt across central Florida this week. That's leading to serious concerns in flood-prone areas. Sandbags are being offered in several places for families worried about their property. Mark Lehman is live at one of those locations in Lake County. Recent rain left the ground very saturated, Mark.
Yes, and that's the big concern we've been hearing from officials, not only here in Lake County, but all over central Florida. Ian will likely be close enough to bring in a lot of rain, and with concerns about flooding, many are preparing.
Thank you, Mark. Over the weekend, Governor DeSantis expanded a state of emergency to all of Florida's 67 counties.
State and federal leaders are not waiting to get equipment in place. News 6 got a look at the Orange County Convention Center yesterday. FEMA has staged nearly 60 ambulances there. The governor's also waived weight restrictions on trucks so supplies can get positioned where they're needed most.
We are loading, and by today we will have loaded 360 trailers with more than 2 million meals and more than 1 million gallons of water to be ready to be sent into impacted areas.
Even if you're not necessarily right in the eye of the path of the storm, there's going to be pretty broad impacts throughout the state. You're going to have wind, you're going to have water, there could be flooding on the east coast of Florida as a result of this. It's a big storm.
And the governor also authorized emergency refills of prescriptions for the next 30 days and urged everyone to keep close tabs on the storm's path.
And the potential impact of Ian is already leading to a rush for supplies at local stores. Shoppers began getting ready over the weekend, leaving some shelves empty. Ezzy Castro continues our live team coverage, and Ezzy, long lines will likely pick up again today.
That is a high possibility, Justin, since several stores across Central Florida ran out of supplies, things like water, but that just tells you people aren't taking any chances and are preparing ahead of the storm.
No matter what Ian brings our way, News 6 will have you covered both on air and online. Now's also the time to make sure you have the Hurricane Tracker app on your phone. You can get push alerts. Those updates come out and new tracks are issued. Those updates come out as well through the app. Just look at that in the App Store. It's WKMG. And our entire Pinpoint Weather team will also be doing live chats throughout the day to answer your questions. We have one coming up at 8:15 this morning. You can take part in that on clickorlando.com or our News 6 Plus app for your smart TV, along with our YouTube and Facebook pages.
5:09, if you're just now joining us, meteorologist Troy Bridges has the latest on what is now Hurricane Ian.
Yeah, and now that it's strengthened to a hurricane, we are going to see more of those models in better agreement. We're going to have better data coming in with more precise ideas of where this will go in the next few days. Right now, again, a minimal hurricane with winds at 75 miles per hour. It only takes 74-mile-per-hour winds to become a hurricane. But here are some of our very, very early impact predictions for you. We are going to see the chance for some strong gusty winds, especially in our western zones, Lake Sumter and Marion counties, as soon as Wednesday on into Thursday and even Friday. All of Central Florida likely to see at least tropical storm force winds heading into Thursday and Friday as this moves closer. We could even see some tornadoes isolated because we'll be on the dirty side of the storm. Up to 6 to 7 inches of rain in western zones, but 2 to 4 inches for a large part of Central Florida. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve as Pinpoint Traffic, brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Plenty of information and plenty of time to make sure we're all good to go. Appreciate you, Troy. Right now, I am watching this. It's going to be westbound I-4 at the 72-ish. So right before you get to 528 on the right shoulder, earlier crash on the right shoulder. Not blocking any lanes there, but again, between Sand Lake and 528, you'll see it. Scoot on over for them, give them a little bit of space. Not causing any delays out there. Minor crash, International Drive at Destination Parkway there. You can see a little bit of slowdown there on I-Drive. Again, be careful. Outside of that, we're doing pretty good this morning. East side, Aloma, that county split between Seminole on the north side and Orange County on the south side, between north and south 436, all clear. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. We'll see you in a few minutes to answer a viewer question.
Today, making sure you're prepared if a storm heads our way.
Plus, a driver arrested after a head-on crash. What troopers say the man did before driving the wrong way on a busy local road.
You're watching News 6 Mornings. Here's a live look from the Orlando Health Camera. We'll be right back.
It's about making our neighborhood safer. Channel 6 has been instrumental in getting our story out there.
Live with Bridget Ellison, Justin Warmoth, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
5:15, time for Ask Trooper Steve, where we answer the questions you send in. And Steve, something timely today. A question about anytime a storm comes in, threatens our area.
Absolutely.
It's so important. It's crucial to be prepared.
Right, and it's not always just because of a hurricane coming. So this is what we're talking about specifically. Things to know and do when traveling in severe weather. And this is for any time we have severe weather come through. Sometimes some of these storms feel like a hurricane coming through Central Florida. So first and foremost, this is for general stuff. Full tank of gas and extra when possible. So if we know a storm is inbound, you know, don't rush, but make the plan, include that in your plan so you have stuff to go. Obviously, check your routine vehicle maintenance. And what I mean by that, oil, tires, windows, your vehicle lights. This stuff sounds so redundant, but someone out there needs that reminder. Also, a plan. Where are you actually going, and do you know your route? It might change. A lot of people going, oh, well, I'm leaving, but I don't know where I'm going. Have that destination en route. Your vehicle, keep this in mind, is not for sightseeing during a storm. Limit your travel for cleanup crews and first responders, no matter how serious or minor the storm is. How often does we have these electrical crews get out there and have to pick up stuff, lines and stuff like that? Also, never drive through flooded roadways and communicate with someone. Don't be an individual during a storm if you're leaving the house. let someone know where you're going.
Great tips. Thank you, Steve.
If you have a question you want to ask Trooper Steve, go to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve. Ask Trooper Steve is sponsored by Driveway.com.
The storm that was once Hurricane Fiona is being blamed for at least one death on Canada's east coast. Officials in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland say dozens of homes are destroyed. Hundreds of thousands of people are without power. No word on how long it'll take to restore service.
Well, yeah, we've seen all that happen with Hurricane Fiona, and now all eyes are on Hurricane Ian as we've watched this track all through the weekend. I know everyone was watching their updates, watching all these updates come in, the model runs showing different things, and now we just have to sit and wait for it to firm up a little bit.
And while we wait, we're looking for supplies. I know looking for water on Sunday morning for me was a little difficult.
It's tough out there, Troy.
Yeah, everyone's out buying all the water, and you know, we need to be prepared. That's a good idea, and we're going to keep you up to date on those changes that are coming. And as Justin pointed out, as the storm gets stronger, our model data and our information coming in will get better. So it's actually a good thing that we have seen this develop into a hurricane, a Category 1 right now, barely, with winds at 75 miles per hour. Here is the 7-day forecast as we get results, and we take you into those high rain chances every single day this week, up to 70% for Tuesday, 90% Wednesday, 80% Thursday. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve as Pinpoint Traffic, brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. Right now, we do have a crash that is on I-4, causing some heavy delays now westbound. So from Seminole County headed towards Orange County, we're going to be right at Maitland Boulevard here, about the 90 just before there. You can see your left lane is currently blocked, but what is not blocked is your express lanes, and there is an express entrance right before this crash. A lot of people choosing to use that this morning. Let me show you on the map where we're at. That you're going to pass 436, you're going to start to approach Maitland, and that's where you're going to start to see those breaks. If you're not going to choose to get in the express, move to the right-hand side. That area is moving a little quicker, obviously, than the left-hand side is. Westbound I-4 also closer to 528. Got some crews on the right shoulder. This crash on I-Drive and Destination almost cleared out. And then northern portions of Orange right there at 436, looking pretty good. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. NASA is set to attempt its first-of-its-kind mission.
At the bottom of the hour, how today's test could shape future responses to asteroids near Earth.
First, though, gas prices dropping, at least for now. How experts say storm activity in the Gulf could lead to changes at the pump. Up next.
Avoid detours and beat the morning rush with Trooper Steve tomorrow at 6 a.m. only on News 6. The inspiring journey
spreading love one smile at a time
of a Walt Disney World legend.
Welcome to Billy Flanagan's Experience
Is coming to the big screen.
I have no reason not to be the happiest man on earth.
News 6 wants to send you to the premiere on Saturday, October 1st. For your chance to win, go to clickorlando.com, sign up to be a News 6 insider, and enter for your chance to see Billy Flanagan, the happiest man on earth.
It was amazing.
Enter now through Thursday.
Well, still to come, we continue our team coverage on Hurricane Ian as the storm threatens Florida.
Meteorologist Troy Bridges pinpointing the brand new track. Stay with us.
You taking it upon yourself to do a story like this and to advocate and fight for those of us that need help, that's getting results.
Live, this is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
Breaking news, Ian, now a hurricane. The system just upgraded as it continues a path toward Florida. Troy's pinpointing the latest forecasted track.
Plus, from sandbags to supplies, this morning we have live team coverage as Central Florida prepares for the possible impacts from the storm. Good morning to Central Florida. I'm Justin Mormouth.
I'm Bridget Ellison. Thanks for staying with us on your Monday Crystals Off today. We want to start with meteorologist Troy Bridges and the very latest on Ian. Troy.
Yeah, Ian officially a hurricane as of 5 o'clock this morning now with winds at 75 miles per hour moving into some very warm ocean water. So it will rapidly intensify today to a Category 2, possibly a Category 3 tonight as it gets closer to far western Cuba. Not moving over much land, in fact, moving over plenty of that warm ocean water, acting as fuel. So by the middle of the week here in Central Florida, we will have impacts for most of Central Florida on this current track if it doesn't change very much. And this cone hasn't changed much at all from last night at 11 o'clock. So a possible Category 3 major hurricane near Tampa Bay, possibly even moving inland just south of Central Florida by Thursday in the early morning hours and then moving to the north. And so by Thursday into Friday, that's when we would see the worst of the impacts. We could see tropical storm force winds for all of Central Florida if this cone is true as this continues to weaken, moving closer. That center line moves it closer to Cedar Key. But again, it could go anywhere within this cone. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. Still watching this crash westbound I-4 right at Maitland right now. So you can tell they just expanded the lane closure out to now take 2 left travel lanes out here. I'm not sure if they're trying to move what's out here or what exactly is involved with this crash, but we only had 1 lane blocked. Now we have 2 westbound lanes currently blocked. What is not blocked are your express lanes. So I see a lot of people hopping into those. Why? Because there's an entrance into them right before this crash, so that it's still available. But if you're headed westbound right now, I'm looking at about a quarter-mile backup before you get onto Maitland Boulevard. Outside of that, we're starting to clean up a little bit. Earlier crash westbound right before 528 is all gone. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. As Troy's been telling us, Ian is strengthened to a hurricane now as it continues a path toward Florida.
And with parts of the area already soaked from recent rain, there's growing concern over the threat of serious flooding. Mark Lehman joins us live from Mineola. And Mark, many people say it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people are telling us it's a lesson they've learned from previous storms. With the ground already saturated, many are worried that the rain from Hurricane Ian will bring water into their homes.
And Lake County Schools is already telling parents to prepare to have their kids home for 2 days this week. The district says it's tentatively scheduled an early release day tomorrow and 2 days of school closures for Wednesday and Thursday. District leaders say they're making the move in case schools need to be used as shelters, but they also say the plan is subject to change. As for other districts, Orange and Osceola County say school will be in session today and tomorrow, and then they're going to reevaluate. Seminole County says it will update parents tonight.
Even though the storm's hitting on the Gulf Coast, students at Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach have been told to evacuate campus by noon today. School leaders say they're concerned about the potential for flooding there. Classes will move online starting tomorrow. Even if Central Florida doesn't get a direct impact from Ian, we will likely still feel effects from the storm through wind and rain. Emergency officials are urging people to prepare, including stocking up on key supplies. Our team coverage continues with News 6's Ezzy Castro. And Ezzy, some shoppers are finding the shelves empty.
Yeah, that was the case over the weekend, Bridget, for several shoppers. And I can tell you, I actually saw people buying supplies since a Friday, especially water, and lines could pick up again this morning.
But first, let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve as Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
If y'all could see him back here,
just typing
these
away
numbers nonstop. It's like tick, 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 nonstop.
And running back and forth.
Yeah, get your cardio in this week, man. Wednesday, westbound. We're watching for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Westbound I-4. So they expanded the closure because they need space to pick up the vehicles. So your left 2 lanes closed westbound at Maitland Boulevard right now, causing about a quarter to a half-mile delay. I'm hoping that once this clears up, this traffic will thin out rather quickly. However, your express lanes, perfectly fine. These people are probably cruising by going, see, I hopped on in. Cruise in because there's an entrance right there, right before this crash, if you want to, not mandatory. And then in Seminole County, I-4 looking pretty good. Out on the east side, 434 north and southbound through Oviedo, all clear. Guys, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Trooper Steve. A crash collision millions of miles from Earth.
Still ahead, why NASA will deliberately crash a spacecraft into an asteroid and how it could play a big role in the future of space.
And while Ian threatens Florida, Puerto Rico is still struggling from impacts of Hurricane Fiona, who is now sending help to the island as millions remain without power.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Ford. This is the News 6 Pinpoint Weather app, and it is packed with new features, like exclusive video forecasts from your favorite meteorologists.
Thanks for downloading the all-new Pinpoint Weather app. Now here's your forecast.
Sometimes you need an interactive radar with built-in storm tracker. We got that, and more. Like geo-targeting technology that will alert you to changing weather anywhere you are.
Man, this is a good app.
It's the all-new Pinpoint Weather app, only from News 6. Live with Bridget Ellison, Justin Warmoth, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
If you're just now joining us, Ian is now a hurricane, and the storm is forecast to rapidly gain even more strength as it gets closer to the Florida coast. Troy is pinpointing the new track and the major questions that still remain about the impacts that we'll see. His full forecast is coming up in about 3 minutes.
While Florida is focused on Ian, Puerto Rico's trying to recover from Fiona. Officials say as many as 45% of people are still without power more than a week after the storm made landfall.
All right, let's turn now to meteorologist Troy Bridges. Crunching the numbers, looking at all the data that's coming in.
I'm putting together all the graphics for all the counties, county by county, so you know what to expect. Now, these are early predictions because we still have a fairly wide cone. All of Central Florida is included in the cone. So let's get right to it. It is a Category 1 hurricane with winds at 75 miles per hour. Remember, it takes 74-mile-per-hour winds to become a hurricane, so it's a very minimal hurricane. That won't last long. It will strengthen very quickly, moving through a lot of very warm water, barely moving over any land. So that land normally would help to tear it apart a little bit. Not going to deal with land. So as it has all that fuel to get its act together, it will likely become a major Category 3 hurricane, possibly late tonight, and move over western Cuba. Very little part of Cuba, so not interacting with land enough to weaken it. In fact, as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico, strengthening to a Category 4 hurricane by the middle of the week on Wednesday, and then tracking into the Gulf of Mexico closer to Central Florida. So here is the latest cone as of 5 o'clock this morning. This has not changed since 11 o'clock last night. So this cone includes all of Central Florida except for far, far southern Brevard County. And you have to look anywhere within that cone because this line could go either way, left or right. So if this moved in on top of Central Florida, we would of course have more impacts than if it were to move farther to the west. Then, as we take you to Sumter, and for Orange County's pretty much tropical downpours, a brief tornado or two, some winds up to 30 miles per hour or greater. And again, the farther off to the east you go, the lower the impacts would be, all dependent on exactly where this thing would go. You have to look at the whole cone though. So again, it's early to tell those exact impacts, but we are giving you some of them. Mid to upper 70s out the door right now. Here's a look at the pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
And today we warmed to a high of 90 degrees with rain chances at 50% into the afternoon, a high near 90 area-wide along the coast and for inland spots. Here is the 7-day forecast. As we get results, you'll see those rain chances are going to be higher every day this week, going up to 70% on Tuesday, 90% Wednesday, 80% Thursday, and then 50% Friday. Look at those highs. Cooler because of tropical moisture right on top of us. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve as Pinpoint Traffic, brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
I'm only watching this morning, so it'll slow you down a little bit if you're headed westbound. So this is westbound I-4 right at Maitland Boulevard. 2 left lanes currently blocked. They're almost done here. 2 tow trucks just showed up, picked one of the vehicles up. So hopefully we can thin this out in a second. Your westbound express lanes, though, all clear. We're about a quarter mile backed up here. So after you pass 436, if you're not going to jump in the express lanes, hang out in the right travel lanes, you'll cruise right by this. East Orange County looking pretty good. State Road 50 out towards Avalon and Waterford Lakes. And then a little further south, southbound 417 approaching 528 this morning. All clear. Even Lake Nona, not too bad. Right there at the county line of Narcoossee and Boggy Creek. Narcoossee northbound there in Orange County, and then southbound through St. Cloud, approaching the 192 area. Nice and smooth. And then if you're headed east, no visibility issues, no problems. Nothing going to slow you down if you're headed into Melbourne. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. News 6 is hosting a special screening of the new documentary Billy Flanagan, and we want you to join us. The film is about a Disney performer who found a new way to spread joy during the pandemic when the parks were closed. We're giving News 6 insiders a chance to win tickets to attend the VIP premiere Saturday, as well as discounted tickets for a Sunday matinee screening. For details, go to clickorlando.com/insider.
A welcome sign at the gas pump. Prices drop again.
Ahead at 6, what's fueling the drop and how long it could last.
First, though, all eyes on Hurricane Ian as the storm continues on a path towards Florida. How many in Central Florida are preparing next as we check our big stories.
Get there on time with instant traffic updates from News 6. Turn on traffic notifications in the News 6 app now.
It's 5:55. Let's check our big stories. Breaking right now, Ian has strengthened into a hurricane this morning. The forecast calls for more rapid intensification as it heads toward Florida. And Troy's pinpointing the new track and the possible impacts we could feel ahead at the top of the hour.
The threat of flooding from Ian has made many making preparations. Cities and counties across Central Florida offering sandbags, and the run on water and other supplies has left the shelves bare at many stores.
A second middle school student injured after a lightning strike has died. The group was out rowing on Lake Fairview earlier this month when that bolt hit, causing their boat to capsize. NASA with a big decision on its hands.
Still ahead when the space agency is set to decide if the threat from Ian is enough to roll its massive moon rocket back to a safer spot.
And staging supplies for whatever Ian brings our way. The major local venue now set up to help people across the state.
We're fans of Channel 6. We were watching the news last night and we were moved by your story, coming together as human beings.